Welcome to T. Frank's Film Room for Blue White Illustrated. I'm T. Frank. This is the room where I watch film and then film myself talking about the film I just watched. Don't think too hard about that part. Today we're examining Penn State commit and linebacker prospect for the class of 2022, Keon Wylie from Philadelphia. It's always interesting to watch a player and try to translate the skills you see on film from a different position to a new one at the college football level. And this is an experiment that Penn State has tried over the years with different defensive ends that they think have the abilities to play linebacker. Micah Parsons. We'll have to see if they can replicate that experiment. Now, some of those skills that we just won't be able to find out on film are coverage ability. And by the way, the aforementioned Parsons made it to the NFL without us really knowing his full breadth and skill as a coverage linebacker. And then, of course, how does a player play in space in general, not just in coverage, but also as a run defender? Can he translate those skills from one-on-one, somebody in your face, to angles off the ball? There are, I think, there's a little more evidence there than we will ever get with the coverage stuff. So let's get into it and see what we can find out and why Penn State has targeted Wylie as the next player they want to make a defensive end turned linebacker. And the first thing that you notice when you watch his film, and the first thing that is a universally translatable skill, is the ability to shed blocks with your hands. Good hand usage. Watch how quickly you can win if you properly use your hands and you do that hand fighting, the ability to punch down somebody's hands or to get your hands in quickly and disengage and not get into shoving matches with offensive linemen. Now, he doesn't have a ton of moves. I wouldn't say Wylie is a expert technician, but he shows the right way to think about using your hands, the right way to approach playing football, and he shows the right way of approaching offensive linemen. And at that level, that makes him dominant. That made him almost unblockable as a defensive end in his shortened season this spring. It's really impressive. And again, that's a skill that translates whether you're a linebacker or you're a defensive end, because you can see here, it's not just winning quick blocks. He's good at the point of attack. He has the length and the strength to play at a very high level in high school. And that's another thing when you watch the way somebody engages at the offensive line. He's going to be good at the point of attack as a linebacker for sure. He's strong. Again, another guy that is stronger than his size and mass metrics might indicate. He is good sized at 220, 6'2", 6'3", but it's not like he is a hulking defensive end with the classic body type. He's still undersized, and he's stronger, and he's controlling the players at the point of attack that are 30, 40 pounds heavier than he is, and he does that, again, with great hand usage, but with leverage, pad level, and strength. So when you look at the length aspect, he's more than big enough to play linebacker. He's got good speed, and as you see, once he disengages, the fun part is the closing burst where he gets to the football. Not just as a pass rusher, but if you can shoot gaps as a linebacker, you can get off blocks, or if you're set up by the defensive line, and then you can shoot in there and get tackles for loss. These are all incredibly important skills, and you can see he can turn the corner on a bunch of linemen, so it's easier to project that when you see how quickly he can get to the football as a defensive end. Again, that burst off the line, he'll have to prove that he can do that once he sees it and reacts to it as a linebacker, and it's not just an instinctive, immediate go. So that'll be something to watch for, is if he can translate those skills to a new position. But how well he is and how adept he is at playing the position he's learned in high school, I think to me shows that he's an intelligent football player that has picked up the game at a mature level, not just as a great athlete, a Division I athlete playing against other high school kids and dominating. He's using football techniques to win and to accentuate his skills. Those are all great indicators that he's going to be able to pick up a position at a later date, but I just want to say it again. Linebacker is really hard. It is really hard. There is no harder position in football from a mental and physical aspect as linebacker. Maybe some other ones are more physically demanding, but you can almost not be right as a linebacker. So learning all of that stuff will take time, but he does seem to have the tools in order to do it. One area that I do have a question is whether or not he's a box player or he is a sideline to sideline sort of athlete. He's a defensive end. He's he's executing his assignment, but you can see once he gets off the ball, some of his chase plays where he's chasing things down from the backside, he doesn't finish them. He doesn't give the initial burst to get to the football. And I don't know, I wouldn't be concerned about his level of effort. I don't think it's an effort problem because, as you can see, he plays hard every other aspect of the game. He is playing as hard as he can at any point, but I think this is the question, is does he not believe he can get to the football? Because, if he's going to be a linebacker, he's got to believe that wherever the football is, he can get there. So that's going to be something to monitor as he gets bigger, because at 220, he's still going to get bigger, and maybe his frame won't be 245, 250, but he will be stronger. He will get a little more explosive, but can he maintain his speed after his initial burst? Because there are some defensive ends that are really good on those 10-yard splits. That's why they do that at the combine. But what are you for the next 30 yards? And to me, I want to see more evidence of him doing that, because there is evidence. He does chase plays down from the backside, and he does chase things down to the sideline. It's just not as consistent as the inconsistency is. So that's where we need to find out more information, both his senior year and as he translates to college, because there are plays on tape where he does have the burst to finish plays, or at least get to the football and affect what is happening with the football. More of that will make him a more complete prospect as a linebacker and give him more flexibility of what Penn State can do with him and where he can line up. And with all of that and the potential to be a really good run-stuffing linebacker is all there, let's not forget he's also a really good defensive end who knows how to convert speed to power. He can blow guys off the ball. He can run around them. He has, again, good hand usage, and all of that stuff is going to be very useful when he gets to college, and he is at one point a blitzer, one point in coverage. He can do a lot of different stuff, and bringing that skill as a pass rusher, it's not going away. So adding that into what he can do, that's the benefit of moving a guy who's a good defensive end prospect to linebacker and maybe making him a special sort of player. That's the idea. And how much he can handle in the whole sense of the transition to linebacker will make him and determine whether or not he is a great prospect or he's a good football player. Either way, the building blocks for a good defensive front seven player, even if he has to be a situational pass rusher at some point and things don't quite work out, I do think he has the tools to be useful and to be a contributor at the next level for Penn State.